Just got this in. It's the FullSpeed ToothPick Pro. Now, before we get into the review and setup of this product, I cannot let the name go. I'm going to keep this brief. This is not what I or most others would consider to be a toothpick. This is a toothpick. This is not. Just look at the freaking motors. Look at the frame. Look at the board. Look at the construction. It is not a toothpick. So FullSpeed's ToothPick Pro is just a 4-cell brushless microquad around 2.5 inches. That is what we have here, and that's what I'm going to call it. On this micro, we have a 4-cell capable flight controller advertising a continuous 12 amp current. The frame is 2.5 millimeters thick, and the whole drone weighs about 65 grams without a battery, allowing you to easily stay under that 250 gram weight if that's your goal. This is a bind and fly version with a FreeSky D8 receiver installed. Now, FullSpeed may not have a toothpick class drone here, but that doesn't mean it's not capable and fun to fly. There are some setup elements to take care of before you bind and fly, so let's talk starting with the battery strap. Now, the straps that come in the box, this is what one of them looks like. Honestly, forget these straps unless you have no choice. Get a pack of these straps here. You'll get some real grip, a real buckle, and it'll just hold up better overall. Now, I've routed the strap over the top of the frame. That way the entire bottom is free for a rubberized battery grip. Now, be careful when you set up the battery strap like this, because you don't want the strap pulling on the ESC at all. You just want to finagle it to run as flat as possible to run across the bottom. Now, this 3D printed TPU canopy is great because it's lightweight and hard to break, but as you can see, the camera just kind of sits in there, and the whole canopy flexes quite a bit, which can be jello-inducing for your video. One great suggestion by Solo Pro Fan over at the RC Group's forums was to put some zip ties in the front to help keep it from moving. It absolutely keeps this whole little apparatus from moving around as much. After you get the battery strap sorted, you're going to want to unlock the video transmitter, and that's this bit down here. It is the TX600 video transmitter, capable of up to 600 milliwatts. And its factory setup is on lock mode, meaning that you will not be able to use any higher than 25 milliwatts, and some frequencies aren't available to you until you unlock it. So this part frustrated me because I couldn't find the physical button to unlock it, and I finally found it. Here it is. It is underneath at the back here, looking at it from the back, from the left side. There, right there is the button. And you need to hold that button down for about 20 seconds, and then you can unlock the video transmitter. That's when you'll unplug the battery, plug it back in. It'll be clear that you have unlocked it successfully when you're able to either choose one of the unlock bands or powers the next time you boot it up. Don't bother with the button sequences. Just do this with Betaflight video transmitter commands, or from the Betaflight on-screen display menu under the video transmitter power options. It gets really hot on 600 milliwatts, so I picked 200, and I would also add the video transmitter low power on disarm setting as well. So the 1106 4500 kV motors are definitely designed for 4-cell batteries, so my choices were the GNB 650 and 450 4S skinny high voltage lipos. I had good flight times on these and discharge rates with both, but I prefer the 650. They both fit perfectly in the strap, and the flight times on this battery were anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes depending on the flight style. Now, these are some newer batteries from GMB, and I really like them a lot. As for the Betaflight setup, I did a few changes in Betaflight. So first, I modified the motor idle speed to 5.5 per NDRC and others' recommendations to keep the quad from falling during certain maneuvers, and it worked nicely. The factory tune provided by FullSpeed is actually really great, so I didn't touch that at all, and I only put in my rates. As I'm using the high voltage batteries in the power and battery section, I changed the maximum voltage to 4.4 and I removed the 300 milliampere hour battery configuration. Now, the FreeSky D8 receiver supports RSSI, or signal strength status, back to your radio and in your on-screen display, but you need to set that up in the OSD section of Betaflight. In the mode section, I enabled air mode permanently, and although I normally set up horizon and angle mode for the ability to go stabilized flight for whatever reason, there is a problem with my model that is causing it to infinitely drift. You can very clearly see the angle increasing in Betaflight with it just sitting there with a battery connected. So therefore, if you have this issue, I just disable the accelerometer entirely. And if you were looking to use any kind of stabilized modes on this model, be worried because you may end up with this issue too. It didn't bother me because I only fly acro mode with air mode enabled anyway, but it may bother you, so just to note. Now finally, I noticed that turtle mode was enabled for this on the stock mode setup, but I would highly recommend against it. This micro does not turtle well at all, and you will risk just burning it up. Keep it enabled only to have as a last resort in case you get stuck in a tree or something like that. Alright, let's talk about the flight experience. FullSpeed did a great job on the tune for this drone out of the box. As I said earlier, I had a blast with the flight. There's very little that you can't do with this. I even did some inverted yaw spins that ended fantastically, and I crashed the crap out of it. Most of the crashes were all in low-cut grass, but it took quite a few decent beatings, and nothing really happened to it except for some bent props, which never broke, and they were easy to bend back. Plus, FullSpeed includes lots of spare propellers in the box when you get it, so you've got plenty of props already in case you do break something. Now, here and there is a little prop wash, but nothing detrimental. Flight times range anywhere from 3 minutes and 30 seconds to as long as 5 minutes, depending on how I was flying. Now, the camera here is a Cadex Micro F2 camera, and with the angle being adjustable of up to 45 degrees, and it looks all right. I flew in the morning sunlight, and I thought it handled the transitions pretty well. The video range was fine, but I kept getting blocked out from where I was sitting under the pavilion at the park when flying overhead. And I can't really blame it for that too much. However, the FreeSky D8 receiver has some range issues. Sitting at the very edge of the pavilion, I was getting great video, but short range on the receiver because my Tyrannus was warning me that I had low signal more than once. And at the end of the flights, you can see that there were some pretty low signal strength values. Some as low as 12% on the RSSI. And really, there shouldn't be any reason for that when I'm facing the quad and flying directly out in front, sitting at literally the very edge of the pavilion. An official D16 FreeSky RSSR receiver that could be placed more optimally would be a highly recommended upgrade. The final thing I'd like to bring up is the motors. Just keep an eye on them and make sure they aren't getting too hot. A few times they felt hot to the touch, but I also had some prop imbalances from the crashes that I hadn't noticed immediately, so that might have been part of it. It's just something to keep an eye on. Now, I hope I'm not sounding too critical or cranky about the drone, because I'm not. Overall, I seriously had a lot of fun with it at the park, and I can't wait to take it out again. I did fly it in the backyard at my house, but I think unless you have at least an acre of property, this guy is just too powerful to properly enjoy. On 4S, this micro just wants to go. Maybe it would be tamer on 3S, but I didn't have any suitable batteries to try that. So that's it, guys. That is my review and setup of the FullSpeed ToothPick Pro. I hope you guys found it honest as well as informative. Please hit the like button and ring the bell because I've got more micros and toothpicks coming up. Links to everything is in the description below. And if you have any questions or input, please leave me a comment. So that's it, guys. As always, I hope you have a great day, and I'm going to go do some flying.